out to the patio of my building here, and I'm gonna try experimenting a little with um, short short whips, AX1 style whips, or the MFJ is what I have. And I built some capacity hats. Gonna test them out and see if they will lower the resonant frequency and how much, and if my 20-meter whip will be usable on 30 or 40 with them or not. So it should be interesting. A couple years ago, Elecraft released their AX1, and it seems like since then the short loaded whips have gotten a lot more popular, and they're nice when you're in a small area and need a quick setup, whatever. But the biggest thing is you can't get on very many bands of them. This is a 20-meter whip, and with the KX3 I can get on 20 and 17 and 15 and maybe 30. But for soda and potence, it'd be nice to be able to get on 30 and 40 meters reliably with this, or with the AX1, or with the KH1 that just came out. And so one way to lower the frequency is to add a capacity hat. So I built two, and we'll try them out and see how they do. So this is just the whip. You can see there is a definite dip in the SWR around the middle part of 20 meters. If we go, the minimum's right around the bottom of 20 meters. So it's a 2 megahertz span from side to side. The center's at 14 there. So now what I'll do is I will attach the spoke whip, and we'll see how that changes it. So if the antenna stays vertical, it's a little windy out here today. You can see the point has moved, so we gotta go down in frequency. And now we went from about 14 megahertz to about 12.7 for the peak. Then we can add the other whip and see how that does. Alright, this is with the wheel whip, and it's even farther, from 12.7 down to 11.8 or so. So the capacity hats definitely lower the resonant frequency, and it's hard to tell because we have to zoom around so much, but it theoretically should also broaden that dip in SWR that we're seeing. Now I've hooked it up to the KX3 so we can see how it performs on an actual radio. So right now is just the bare whip, and I will hit the tune button so we can see that it gets a match, and then with the KX3 utility I can look and see which L and C in the tuner are being used. So if I start, I expect this will get a 1-to-1 match, since it's a 20-meter whip on 20 meters, and it did. So that's what we'd expect. Then I can come over here and I can run the command from the utility, and I will write that down, and then I will put on the other two hats, and we'll see how that looks. So I have the results here from my antenna testing. You can see I ran the whip with no hat, with the spoke hat and the wheel hat, on 20, 30, and 40 on each band. This column is the SWR that KX3 was able to get it to. This AK is the output from running that command in the KX3 utility. And then I converted
this number into the amount of inductance and capacitance in the tuner. So obviously got a 1-to-1 on 20 meters with no hat. That's what it was designed for. And it did have a bit of inductance and capacitance, but that might just be the amount that the tuner needs to get to 50 ohms, just the wiring and everything inside. Well, the KX3 is able to get it down to 1.5-to-1 on 30, and some inductance and capacitance. It wasn't able to get there on 40. The best it could find was 4-to-1. So I wouldn't rely on these numbers meaning anything, since there's a lot more inductance that the tuner could have added. You can see with the spoke hat, surprisingly, this number was pretty high. I might not have hit the button a second time or something, but it did work. I don't know why you do it here, since it works perfectly fine on 20 meters already. 30 meters, you can see, went from 1.5 to 1.2-to-1, and the inductance dropped down, as you'd expect. And 40 meters, we got under 3-to-1, still quite a bit of inductance. And then the wheel hat, which theory says should be even better than just the spokes. 20 meters, it was still able to find a good match. 30 went from 1.2 to 1.1, and 40 we see a huge improvement, 2.9 to 1.4-to-1 SWR. And on 30 and 40, the inductance required to tune it did go down. And since I had it set up, I thought, oh, maybe it'll work on 60. And the KX3 was able to find a match with quite a bit of inductance, and I think this is the maximum amount of capacitance, so it's really using all of the tuner, but theoretically you could make a contact on 60 with it that way. So with these hats, the KX3 would work. I think the KX2 has nearly the same tuning range, so it would probably work there. The KH1 has a smaller tuner. I'm not sure there's enough L and C inside it that you could get it to work. Maybe it would work okay on 30 with the tuner, and maybe you'd get it on 40, maybe not. It's need to find someone with one that let me experiment to find out for sure. The construction I did to build these hats was not that great. In fact, as I was taking down the wheel hat at the end, I broke it. So I'm not going to bring these out in a soda peak or anything. I think they'd fall apart in my backpack. But with some better construction, it could be a good way to increase the range of your short-loaded whip. Maybe someone who enjoys designing stuff can find a way to make it so you can just plug the elements into a clip at the top or something and print one or figure that out. It's in the end, it's still a short whip. They have their place, but definitely better to put up a wire if you can, especially on the lower bands, 40 and 30 and even 20. You'll have a much louder signal at the other end.